welcome back. Week 2 on this. Have my Sawzall. Bought a brand new carbide tooth Linux blade for it. I wanted a Diablo. Nobody had none. So, it is what it is. We're going to start by cutting off the roof up here, all the way across. Go from the inside, then the outside. Trying to save this windshield, because somebody wants it. But that's our first cuts. That's what we're starting with today. I will probably have this cab cut off here today. They move pretty quick once you start cutting, if that Linux blade holds up. If that thing dies quick for 17 bucks, I'll just go buy a bunch of cheap blades, because I ain't paying 17 for another one of those. But let's get to cutting.
Love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some...
Well, unfortunately the windshield didn't make it. I cracked it 3 times. It was all gravy. I had it just about out. But where they got all this triple, welded steel and stuff in here, there was a little piece in here. When I had to dig in for it, both sides crack. So, unfortunately, that's the way the game goes. I'm going to hopefully still save the back window. My next cut is up here. I'll cut here. Probably in an angle, straight across, behind the light. And then my next cut will be right through here. Trying to save the back window. I hope, but I'm not expecting to. The AC box, of course, fell off just from 2 screws holding it. But no big deal. I'll find a new way to mount that. That's just the, what is it called? I would say diffuser, where it sends it to different parts, but I'm not quite sure on the name of it. But I left the mounting brackets and stuff. Hopefully, I can slide all that under the new old dash, I guess is what you would say. Bolt it back up. That would still work. But, don't know. Yeah. Pretty easy, though. 3 cuts. Cut up here. Front cut. Rear cut. Off. My next step is to, as I said, cut the rest of the cab off, keeping that for spare metal, and hopefully save the back window. Let's get to cutting.
Clarity to find your identity, it's mind over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 Don't be scared. Just step it up, don't be scared.
Alright, as you can see, window's gone, back window's gone, top's off. You were seeing me cut it in the video. Now I'm going to start cutting the rockers. Basically right here's your line. Stay with it all the way down. Make sure you don't cut any of your wiring, especially your main harness. That Linux blade I got in that new Sawzall, absolutely phenomenal so far. Haven't had a problem. Not broke, not bent, not nothing. Definitely worth $17. I would have done broke 2 or 3 DeWalt blades. This side, I'm going to cut here and all that off, because I have to be strategic of where I cut through here because of this air box. So I have to strategically cut, go all the way up, and then after that I'll cut through here, This whole part will be gone. That whole part will be gone. Actually, I need to check where the body mounts are. Because if they're in that back floor, which they are, they're in this part, I might need to leave that for a while until I get the new body and see how far back it needs to go. So, yeah, so we'll cut straight through here and then right through that corner. Gosh, Sawzalls. I always leave such beautiful rough marks on my hands. But I'm going to put you guys back up on my little camera. That's what you've been watching. And start cutting the rest of the body off.
I'm so gone, no I'm never turning back. I won't stop, I'ma fight until there's nothing left. It's so on, you're gonna be hurting bad, cause I've been to hell and back. You don't wanna make me mad, I stay strong, you will never see me crack. And if you get in my way, you're gonna feel the wrath.
So, we are at the end of today. About 4 hours of non-stop cutting. One blade, that Lennox carbine tooth blade, did all of it. I would have got a longer one, 6-inch, maybe get a 9. It would have been a lot easier to get through the mounts and stuff down here. Or not the mounts, just where it's triple wall, you know. That mount over there is completely toast. I need to get a new one. Floor over there, toast. But I've got everything to the point now to where I can start thinking about how to get the cab over here and how to do everything to it. This I would think can stay, but this through here, all this top part needs to be cut off. No big deal, but the majority of the cutting is done. I am wore out. That freaking Craftsman Sawzall worked great. Blade worked great. So yeah, you can see you ain't gotta have like expensive tools. I paid $83 out the door for that Sawzall today, and the other ones are like $119. That one did absolutely perfect. Nothing wrong with it. I did pay a lot for that blade. It was $17. A little bit of a heart attack, but let me tell you, I would have broke probably 5-6 of the bimetal blades easily. If I wouldn't have broke them, I would have ripped the teeth off of them and been done. So it's saving me money. Everything else is good. Kept the factory bolts and everything to put the harness plug back in if it's wide enough. If it's not, I can always cut that out and move it over. This one, same way. Well, it would have been the same way if I didn't cut it off and put it somewhere else. It's around here, but that piece I need because the harness plug actually goes in side this way for your ECM and stuff. You know, I'm sitting here thinking I cut right through that like an idiot. When you get the cutting, yep, wah. It's alright. I'll cut a hole, make it fit, put some screws through it. But that is the cab cut, and it's only Monday, baby. So I'm jetting pretty good right now. I am disgustingly disgusting. There's little BBs in my skin. I can feel it. You want to wear gloves doing this. I know I showed it in the video, but your gloves, gosh, because the pieces coming off of here, that from the blade cutting, they're about 200 degrees and they burn. So definitely wear your gloves. I wear ear protection because I just do. There's nothing special about it. I just like having ear protection for this stuff. Cut off wheels, not so much, but the Sawzall, God, it gets on my nerves. You can see blister on this hand, blister on my other hand. But I'm done for today. I'm going to hit the showers and be back at it tomorrow. So lots of good footage and lots of good video, I think, this time. But this is all new for an S10 going on a Studebaker. I don't know how wide it is. I don't know if I'm going to have to cut the steering column and move it in a ton. All this stuff is coming, so we'll figure it out. You and me together. Well, it's pretty cold and gloomy today, but let's walk through my junkyard here. Don't worry about that. You just stop looking at it. It's mine. Can't have it. That's the one. Yeah. Now, it's not mine. I wouldn't have it. I think it's quite ugly. But I know a lot of people out here like these. But it's here. Finally. I'm not sure what year this is, but it is a Studebaker M something or another. All the rust is gone on it. Like somebody's patched it. It's all clean. Bed's like brand new bed, actually. It's not like brand new. It is brand new. Fenders are already painted. They're nice. The new running boards are already painted. Radiator and fan, I'll have to get that stuff in today because we're expecting more rain. But yeah, this thing is super duper clean. The best part is the motor's right there. It's not going in here, don't worry. It's all S10 as I've done shown. That's a 267 V8 from an 80s model car that had all the smog garbage on it. What am I going to do with that? Probably just put it on an engine stand and leave it sitting there to look pretty. That's about it. The frame. Check this frame out. It has a Crown Vic front suspension. It's been boxed. I don't know if you can tell in there, but let me stick it in there. It's been boxed all the way back. And the frame's mine. So, love it. These wheels are not mine, thank God. But it has a coilover ladder bar rear suspension with a 308, or is that 308? Anywho, it's a rear end with disc brakes out of a Blazer 4x4, a ZR2 Blazer. So yeah, loving that. Here's all the parts. Actually, there's the calipers for the front, which it don't have it on it. Extra dashboard. I don't know what the dealio is with that. Extra parts up here, a fiberglass front grill, a metal grill that's been chewed on a little bit, and some foam insulation that I don't know why it's in there. But yeah, this is the body going on the S10 Studebaker. There's your money shot for them other people. It's not for me, but you know what they say, there's a butt for every seat. And this one's going to get built by me though. So yeah, pull the front clip off, leave the bed on for now, pull the cab off, move. I haven't figured out what I'm going to do yet. I can do it two ways. I can cut out the firewall of this and make the other S10 firewall fit here with the transmission tunnel, depending on how low it needs to go. If it's me, I'm making it low. But if not, you know, might not even have to use that. Might just have to use the firewall. Brought the tape measure out right now. We'll start doing some measuring. But this is the Studebaker that's going on the S10. Well, when you're building things like this, you know, the wheelbase and everything might be right, but the one thing that's not going to be right is your firewall. In fact, this firewall is only 42 inches. Dang, let me tell you, it is about 7 inches too wide on each side. So it's about here on each side. Yeah, so I've already got a hold of the owner, and honestly the only way to make it work is no heat and air. He'll have to get aftermarket. It's just too small. Sucks for him. It makes it a little easier for me. But really, I wanted to make it work how he wanted it. But if there's no way, there's no way. Also, I think this fender is on the other side, and this is the driver's side. It don't look right. I'll show you. Well, I already know it's perfectly wrong. So, see the smooth rounded end? That should be facing backwards. This end's where your step rail is going to bolt flat. So that's the passenger side fender somebody had sit on here. No whoopee, but it didn't look right to me. So, yeah, it's just it's going to be a pain. So, getting the gauges to fit in this dash is also going to be a pain because look, there's literally no room. This right here is your gauge cluster on here. So the other one's like that big. Yeah, fun. But it's cold. I'm actually real cold right now. Put all the parts inside except for that over there. Yep. Let's go break some bad news. So nothing good is happening at this point. I'm getting ready to pull the front clip off of the Studebaker. I keep wanting to say DeSoto for some reason, but it's a Studebaker. I've already measured the firewall. Firewall comes in at about 42 inches inside of the hood hinges, because you have to have the hood hinges or the hood won't open and close. What bug is that? Oh, it's a bee. Yeah. But anyway, it's 42. If I push it back into this firewall, I can get to about 43. But unfortunately, on the S10, I've done measured it out, and I'm not in the center, but there's a black mark right there and a black mark right there. That's your firewall. What does that do for our heat and AC? Cuts it in half. And I'm pretty sure if I measured out the center, that mark would be over this way another inch. So, man, it does not look like he's going to get heat and AC in this. He wants it bad. But if it just won't fit, it just won't fit. There's nothing I can do about it. You can see there's hardly any room. Like, I couldn't adjust anything as far as moving it inward or anything like that. I don't think it can go up higher because there's nothing higher. So it's just bad all around that it's just not going to fit. We're going to double check though by pulling the front end and taking more measurements, seeing exactly what I can do, what I can't do. For now though, it's not looking good. So I got the front clip off, and as you can see, it's actually smaller than I thought. It's actually only 40 inches wide. Nice. And the reason that you basically have to keep this edge, all this stuff, not because just, you know, your hood latch or your hood mounts are there, but your inner fenders bolt to that and everything. So right now it's just like, man, I don't think there's any way around it. I mean, if I cut all this stuff out, your inner fenders are going to flop in the wind. They're just going to, every time you go down the road, you'll be slapping. Yeah, which makes it, I'm going to say, impossible to get the heat and AC on the S10 to work. Just straight impossible. Yeah. Dang. And really, I'm going to probably go to here when I cut it out and make that all flat. So it's going to stick in more, but that still don't help our width at all. Like seriously, there's just no way. I'm going to have to get a hold of them, have them come up here. I'm going to have to show them because It's impossible. Impossible. But here's that frame whoever built. Actually did a good job on it. Boxed. This is Crown Vic stuff. Too bad it wasn't Corvette stuff. They didn't make any back mounts. I can make those though. Those are wicked easy. Those are the old motor mounts. This one's got like half of stuff missing off of it, as in bolts and nuts and stuff. Like there's no nut on the lower ball joint. There's no nuts on some of the stuff on that side. I don't know what it is right now. I'm sort of in la here because, yeah, it's not gonna fit with heat and AC. He's just gonna have to get an aftermarket unit. That's all you can do. But once I get the cab ready to move, I'll have to take it off, and I'm gonna put it on the rear section of the S10 in there, so that way it's already in there and I can start cutting on it. The choices he wants right now are to use just the firewall of the S10 and basically weld it here and use the Studebaker floor, which, I mean, it's less welding, but it's I don't know how you would say it. It's more fabrication and less welding. How would you say that? But it's, what I'd have to do is I'd have to make body mounts. I can use the old ones and, you know, flip them or tuck them or move them, whatever, to get them to fit in there to hold the body. But at the same time, when I start using just the firewall, I got to make sure that it's sitting just right and the firewall is not pulling wires. It has room to move, because it needs, you know, movement to not rip wires out, and brake lines, etc. Brake lines have plenty of room. I can do whatever with those. But these are all the basic tasks that you're, you know, dealing with. And when I measure my wheelbase also, this one was sitting pretty good as far as in the wheel well arch on the new front end. So I measure from door to center of wheel. And that's the measurement when you go to put the cab on. You want to start at. You want to, you know, measure the gap distance. Now, I do know one other thing is the firewall on the S10 is literally like right here. It's very far up on there. So if I do cut just the firewall off and graft it, it'll be like easy, because I can cut that, just bring the cab in, get the cab sort of set up on something, and then put the firewall to it, shoot some self-tapping screws in it to hold it, get it where I need it, and, you know, weld it in. But this is things that are going to come. You'll see how I do it. I'll show you guys. But right now, yep, I'm going to have to definitely tell him there is absolutely no way. So I just talked to the owner. I'm golden. He said, you know what, just pull it, and he's gonna buy an eBay aftermarket one that hooks up to everything that's factory and works. So that's what I'm gonna concentrate on now. I'm gonna pull all this off and not worry about it, because I'm bringing it in and we'll figure it out after it's in here. So now let's pull all this heat and AC off. And yeah, that made it a lot easier to fit for me, and it's probably gonna be a lot better for him in the long run, because all this junk that's under here will be out of the way. But let's start pulling all this stuff now. It's awesome. Alright, I removed the heat and AC box and everything. You can see the big giant holes it left. I'll have to patch them. Same with the heater core holes. I don't know where the new heater core is going to come in at, so dropped the steering column, pulled all the wiring out as far as I want it anyway. And what I need to do now is I need to cut this off. This whole shelf is not going to be used. I know you think that these are what holds your steering wheel, but actually they don't. We use giant U-bolts under the old dash to hold the steering wheel up. None of this gets used. Only thing I have to make sure is my pedal assembly, which is right here. I don't want to cut into that. I think it's just spot welded to here. Yep, spot weld, spot weld. So what I'll do first is I'll probably cut through here and then down, and so I can get a better shot of everything, so I can see what I'm cutting, make sure I don't cut my pedals off, because you cut your pedal off, you're screwed. Gotta have that. Now, if you're doing a Dakota one, they bolt to the back of the brake booster. They go straight through, and your whole assembly bolts to that. So on an S10, it don't. It's actually spot welded to the firewall. So it's a good thing I checked that first, because if I would have cut that off, I would have been screwed. Well, I got a welder, metal hot glue gun, so I would have just it all back together. But yeah, I'm gonna start cutting that now. Probably gonna use the Sawzall to get a majority of it, and then I'll go to cut off wheel if I have to. And if things get really desperate, I'll go plasma. Yeah, baby. There's a lot of burnable stuff, so I don't want to go plasma, you know. But yes, what else is there? Now that box, that whole unit comes off in a single piece, which is awesome. So pull that off. The back heater core is its own unit in the inside, and that's the diffuser, diverter, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, that hole's gonna have to be patched. That hole, all these small holes, this hole, all have to be patched. The wiper hole, if it's there at the time, I'm not sure yet how it's gonna go to the new cab, or the old new cab, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, we'll cut this out first, get it out of here. All right, finished cutting the firewall, removing this portion here. This is your brake pedal, so that can't go anywhere. You have to use it. I'm probably going to end up having to shorten the steering on this thing. It left me with a couple holes like here, there, and there. The firewall, I don't know what I'm doing yet for it. I don't know if it needs to be straight here or what. So that'll come after I get the cab up to where it needs to be. What else? Oh, this edge through here that I cut off, I'm just going to clean out the seam sealer and hammer it flat. That'll be fine. It'll be up under the dash. Let's see here. I have my marks for 40. There's one. Over here's the other. You don't want to cut them straight down, because you need to leave some more. So I'm going to go 1 inch on each side to give me wiggle room. I'll cut it. And the way it's looking right now, depending on how much it widens out at the bottom, these body mounts are going to be gone. I'll have to move them inboard on front and back. I think the back will actually have to come forward, because they're right here underneath this yellow insulation. So they're here, and I believe they're going to end up being about here by the time I'm done. A lot of movements, a lot of cuts. I have the cab apart outside. I need to start cleaning stuff up and moving it around to where I can open my doors, push the frame all the way to the back of this frame, to where when we lift the cab off, we can just lift it off and set it back down on here, or we're not killing ourselves. So I'm going to cut this back bumper off too. It's in the way, but we're making good progress, and we'll get moving. All right, so here's what's up. I've got the frame pushed all the way forward. I've already got the bed off of this. What I'm thinking of doing, pushing it in here, using the ceiling joists to lift the cab off. The cab don't weigh that much. It might weigh 500 pounds. And just really, Dad's too old. Mom, not even gonna say. And you know, they're retired, they're done. So it's up to me right here to get it off there. No problem. I think that'll work. distribute the weight across as many joists as possible. I think these will hold all day, every day, 2x6s, you know. So I'm going to show you something cool though. I already showed you all that goodness on the front. It's Crown Vic on this custom frame. Look back here, baby. Pan hard bar, coilovers, 4-link. This is a Blazer rear end, disc brakes. It's killer. It's all killer stuff. It's mine. Haha. Love it. These are plates for the step rails. But yeah, check out this bed bottom, man. I think this bed was mostly custom built. Look at this. If not, they ship it from the factory. Killer. Look at that. That's like a 4x4. Or no, it's like 2x3 piece of thick wall pipe. Or not pipe, but square channel. Nice sports, more square. Unfortunately, all of this gets cut out for the body swap. It hurts because that's a beautiful floor. There's nothing wrong with it. But I'm going to cut it out later. It sucks. But yeah, what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to back this down a little bit, and that is on a hill. So yeah, if it gets away from me, it's way gone. But I'm going to back it down a little bit, turn it, get it in, and start attempting the lift. God, please let my garage make it. I could care less if the cab falls. If it falls, you know, it don't hurt nothing but, you know, the pocketbook. The garage falls, I'm boned. So, that's the plan. Let's see if it works. Well, without even actually getting the ratchet strap up on the ceiling, it ain't gonna work. The reason why is I just walked the frame to get back here to sort of strap it. I don't even put my whole weight on there, and then things start bowing and 2 or 3 of them move at the same time. Nah, not gonna trust it. I'm just gonna have to find a couple people to help me lift it. That's all there is to it. It is just way too heavy to trust on the 2x6s in the ceiling that are literally just not holding anything. So they're just up there holding the insulation basically, and they bounce. So I'm not trusting that. Yeah, that puts me in another pickle now. But at least I'm this close, so we'd literally have to lift it from here up and over to here. That's it. Once it's on here, we can slide it, and I ain't gotta worry about it. But just finding a couple people strong enough, because I'm probably not even strong enough to lift this thing by myself. It's not that heavy, but it's heavy, if that makes sense. Even though there's like no floor and it's not bolted down to anything, but it's heavy. Yeah, that sucks. That ruined my plan. So, next step is seeing if I can find some people to help me lift. And if I can't find anybody to lift, the last option is cherry picker. Bring the cherry picker in here, bolt it down to the floor, use the ratchet straps, and lift it. The reason why the cherry picker option sucks is because when I have the legs extended under the frame, 1, it's hard to get the old frame out, and 2, it's hard to get the new frame in. So that's just the thing I don't want. It sucks. It's a pain. If I had concrete, oh, easy, you know, pick the cab up, pull it back, push the frame out, bring the new frame in, set it on it, done. Unfortunately, other garage up the hill is took over with the other cars, so heavy lifting is what we're going to be doing, and lots of it. The motor is kind of in the way, but again, I don't want to mess with it and pull it out of there. I'd rather just leave it in the frame, pull the truck cab off, and be done. This is the current project I'm working on. This is a Studebaker truck. Show the front end out here. There's the front end. This thing is actually sitting on a custom frame that's not being used, but I get to keep it. Has a small block in it. I've already took the bed and front clip and everything off of it. I'm pretty much at the point now to move the cab to the new frame, but it's heavy. I can't lift it. So, got to figure that out. But that's my current situation. Lots of parts, excuse me. Ugh. But this is going on a 4.3 S10 floor and frame that I already stripped, cut, blah, blah, blah. And that's what I'm working on right now. I have to find some heavy lifters. Well, pretty much since, you know, this roof rafter situation won't work, I'm just going to go ahead tomorrow, pull the cherry picker in here, set it up through here, push the truck back in, lift the body, push it out. It's going to be a fight, but, you know, it's got to get done that way because I've got like 2 friends in the world and they're not around most of the time they work. So, yeah, that's our only option is to fight it. But other than that, it's all going good. Bed off, cab's unbolted. God, the sunlight messes up my camera. But I think the cherry picker won't have a problem picking it up. I'll just get it down low, hook it with them straps any way possible, and just lift it slow. If I can get it enough to clear that engine, I'll have it enough to roll this frame back and put it down here. You know, just for now. I've started doing a lot of my measurements, and the way it looks in the back, like most times, I'll leave more of that cab in the back and take less of this cab in the front. It looks like about right here is where the back of the cab meets, but it was just an eyeball measurement. Well, not an eyeball, I tape measured it, but it was a, you know, it's hard to tell one person holding it in the right spot, level, etc. But I'm pretty close. The front mounts look like they're not going to work. What we usually do is just drill them straight through the floor and re-bolt them. Probably do the same thing on here. It's no big deal. But as I said, some of these body mounts are blown out. I don't know if it's this one or the other side, but it's the other side. That one's gone. This one's barely hanging on if you actually look at it. Yeah, that's the washer for it. It's toast. So I'm probably going to need 2 new body mounts. Talked to the owner today. He wants to keep it up as close to that one as possible because, one, you don't want it plowing fields. Roads in Kentucky aren't too fabulous. Heck, if it's too low, you won't get it out of my driveway. But we're going to try to keep it from the bottom of the running board to the ground 6 or 7 inches. So it'll be pretty high. But yeah, we're definitely going to have to run spacers on front and rear. The rears are going to have to be pretty big. After measuring, that bed outside is 49 inches. This is actually 40. And it's like 42, or yeah, 42, you know, with a 1/2 inch by the tire. It's pretty tight fit. So we're definitely going to have to run like 4-inch spacers on each side in the back, which aren't very lovely. Me and him both don't like spacers. So that's the plan right now. Everything else is literally going to be making everything left and right. I'll probably have to cut the back of that cab out. I'll show you because of this, where it's 40. Might not, but this is like 30 something. I think it's 38. Heck, it might be perfect in it. It's got about 1.5 inches, 2 inches on that side. If not, I'll have to cut it out. But it's all in part of it. This motor's actually free. I've actually spun it and everything, but again, 267 junk. I need to fix that twisted up mess, and everything else is golden. I do need to get all the seatbelt stuff off. I just don't have an impact socket that's a T45. I'll have to get one. But again, everything else is golden. moving right along, getting pretty good progress. Just a lot of heavy moving right now. All right, new day. And I got the cherry picker out. The only thing I'm trying to figure out now is where to hook it inside the cab. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick it up from the cab floor. Which just seems a little dangerous because it can teeter-totter. But I really have no way to pick it up like the top of the cab. So, yeah. So, I want to try to go corner to corner inside the cab, of course, in an X pattern. So it can sort of be levelish. I only got to get it really high enough to move this frame out and that frame in. But at the same time, I don't want it to fall. So, just trying to figure out which way I want to go at this. But the cherry picker will work. They actually make a thing you slide in the end of the cherry picker that has 2 prongs and it would pick up the cab. I don't have one. Might need to get one later on. But I don't have one now. I think I'm in a good spot to where I can push this cab out and push the other cab back. Just, one wheel here, one wheel there, so it won't be too big of a pain. I'll have to jack it up and toss a wheel over and over, so. But I'm gonna strap it up, show you how I got it strapped, and we'll put you on time lapse of lifting it and moving everything, hopefully. So currently in full sketch mode. I made a bracket and everything, cherry picker, and I'm about to get this out. What I have to do now is I have to lift the front tire over the cherry picker. So my plan is going to be to put the jack under here, right underneath the cradle, jack it up, and pull it backwards. It's about 5 feet clear. I am tripping, but that's working. So if it ain't super sketch and dangerous, it is, don't do this, then yeah, you're fine. But as long as you're mentally strong, I'm freaking out. But yeah, this is like the only way I got to do this. That's a good plan, actually. I had to look online and I saw some other people do it, but hey, it works. I wish it was a solid 4x4 and more stable in the middle, but it's working. I'm amazed. Let's get back to doing this here. Freaking me out.
Say it to my face while he's looking back. Mirror breaks after math. When I hate, I attack. I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. Don't stop. Stupid up.
That put up an extreme fight. I'm pretty wore out. What I think I'll do is this will be in for this week, Saturday. Take the rest of the day off. Cab's fine. But what I'll do on Monday is I'll probably bring the cherry picker in, lift the cab up, start cutting the cab floors out, and then I'll cut these floors out, and it'll be ready to get somewhat mated up. But as for today, I'm toast. But this frame out here is sexy. I love it. I don't know who built it. I'm not too fond of the Crown Vic, but it's small, it's modular, it'll work. Motor, no. These were mounts. There isn't, I don't have any other ones. Those are the only two, which is fine. Check out, they welded in some thick plate and then tapped them for trans mounts. It's the only thing I could see it being for. It's actually tapped on the outside for step rails. It's friggin', it's awesome. But now it's clear. Whew, that was a fight. I'll have to find somewhere to put this thing now.